A friendship forged in the crucible of the fight against imperialism. A partnership built on shared values and mutual respect. For 45 years, Zimbabwe and China have stood together, united in struggle, in development, and in the pursuit of a shared future in the new era.
The friendship between China and Zimbabwe was forged in the crucible of Zimbabwe's liberation struggle, with China standing firmly as a comrade in arms. Over the past 45 years, our relationship has evolved from a profound historical bond into an all-weather community with a shared future.
In the darkest days of Zimbabwe's fight for independence, China stood firmly with the people. China was amongst the first countries to provide training to Zimbabwe's freedom fighters in the 1960s. President Mnangagwa received his training at Nanjing Military School.
We came here in 1964 when I did my first military training for about 10 months. We were only 5 of us, and out of those 5, I'm the only one now surviving. But we came here to train, and we began our armed struggle revolution.
The Zimbabwe African National Liberation Army, ZANTLA forces, the military wing of the Zimbabwe African National Union, would emerge a fighting force alongside the other guerrilla wing, ZIPRA, of the Zimbabwe African People's Union. This was more than assistance. It was a bond of brotherhood against imperialism and oppression. Yet another chapter of historic firsts and groundbreaking achievements.
China has been aptly described as an all-weather friend for the people of Zimbabwe. It was the first nation in the world to establish diplomatic ties upon the attainment of independence by Zimbabwe in 1980. And throughout the 45 years of our existence as a nation, we've enjoyed great support from the Chinese.
And China stood with Zimbabwe, stood firmly with Zimbabwe, providing development assistance, promoting investment into Zimbabwe, and providing also, a market for products from Zimbabwe, so that international trade, which Zimbabwe was not able to exercise freely with other countries of the world.
After the land was distributed, most of our farmers were struggling financially to finance themselves. This is when TNZ came through the government and diplomatic relations to start funding our local farmers.
I started off with 10 hectares, producing about 30 tons. We scaled up to last year. We did about 300 hectares, selling about 900 tons of tobacco. All this was possible because of proper funding through TNZ.
My dad, Mtami, was one of the very first black farmers to get a contract through TNZ. So TNZ came in and agreed to fund based on the produce that would come from the farm.
A new revolution transforming lives has been underway.
The Chinese came in and stepped up. They transformed the sector by way of improving the volume of tobacco that we've produced. At a record low, we're producing 40 million kilograms of tobacco. When the Chinese came in, they came in with funding on infrastructure, on mechanization. They also come in on funding on inputs directly. Prices started to shoot. The demand and the appetite for tobacco by the Chinese also made this sector improve in terms of prices that are offered to tobacco growers.
In other agricultural sectors, China has in recent years opened up its market to Zimbabwe's premier produce, such as citrus, avocados, macadamia, and rabbit meat, as well as providing technical training.
I'm one of the breeding farmers of pure breeds. I'm quite excited and happy that one day I'll be one of the biggest farmers also supplying to China.
Chinese investments have put Zimbabwe on the global map in multi-billion lithium mining and steel production as Chinese companies such as Huayo Colbert, which operates the Acadia lithium mine, and Dinson Industrial Group, which owns the Dinson Iron and Steel Company, have seen Zimbabwe become a leader in new energy materials and steel.
This project positions Zimbabwe as one of the biggest producers of lithium globally.
We have been able to create employment for many youthful Zimbabweans. We are now able to produce the much required resource, which is still critical in the construction and in the industrialization agenda of our nation and of our continent.
Downstream industries and businesses around Chinese projects are becoming a new lease to social and economic life that had been threatened by the past quarter-century challenges.
Wabase kulithium wanoshanda ikoko vanotenga zvakanaka vanotipromote sezvo panapa pageorge pane misika yakawanda vanotisimudzira
tendesa mwana kuchikoro because lithium yakazouya mwana wangu agrade 3 pari zvino zveaform akaenda form 2 aiwa vaitengera mabhunyanya maboys achanyanya kunditengera zvisingatomboiti.
Young people in Zimbabwe say China has opened new horizons and a future full of opportunities.
Zimbabwe and China's relations goes beyond political relations. It really touches on economy. After gaining political independence, China and Zimbabwe are still working together. So this is a real friendship that has got fruits and that will take our people, that is the Zimbabwean people and Chinese people, to a greater height in terms of development.
Working together and learning from each other has built trust, cooperation, and friendship.
What I've admired here is PLZ. Each and every department, we have a Chinese so that we learn their ethics, we learn their culture. And the best part of it, they even come to us asking us how we do things before they carry on to do what they do back in China.
大家好，我的名字是王磊，这是我的中文名字。我的英文名字是 Kalale Mahachi。
Language is the bridge that connects people. Learning Mandarin has become one of the biggest vocations in the country, as many young people see it as a means to understand Chinese people, to learn more about them, their culture, and enhance employment opportunities.
Both of us, we need to learn either we learn Chinese or they learn our language. This is the reason I'm here. And I believe that, I'm achieving it slowly.
For young Zimbabweans who are in China, the spirit of friendship, amity, and proud association have become part of learning, exploring, and fulfilling the mission of becoming one with Chinese friends.
Young professionals like us have a critical role to play. We are the ones who are living and studying within each other's societies. So I think we must act as bridges of interpretation and collaboration. Our task, I think it is not only to translate just the language, but context as well, to tell Zimbabwe's stories to our Chinese partners and vice versa.
Navigating the complex social milieu in Zimbabwe is not just good business, but also a way to become one with the people.
If you want to make good project in Zimbabwe or to have success, you must make yourself as part of your people.
Experts say Zimbabwe needs to improve, update, and clarify its laws and regulations to match realities.
We are quite happy with the contribution of the Chinese in terms of building this country. But however, we also have some sections which might need to be improved on, especially on issues to do with environmental, social and governance issues. Environmental, that has to do with compliance with environmental laws in Zimbabwe. Social issues to do with plowing back to the communities to make sure that communities are left at a better position after the investments are gone.
The Chinese must respect those in authority. We have the Ministry of Labour, the National Government Councils, we have also the trade unions. These are the industrial relations stakeholders which are there. They must be respected.
What happens in the factories and so forth? Look, our laws are enough to deal with those things. We just need to apply the laws.
In the past 45 years, relations between Zimbabwe and China have been defined, redefined, and refined. From all-weather friendship to five-star ironclad comprehensive strategic partnership of cooperation, now to an elevated all-weather community with a shared future, the evolution has been remarkable.
中国人民的老朋友，好朋友，真朋友。
Zimbabwe and China are building together solutions of the future to enable people to enjoy convenient and modern lives in smart cities. Cities like the capital Harare are becoming centers of not just industrialization, but also economic diplomacy.
We are in the phase of trying to develop our cities, our infrastructure, and we have a lot to learn from China. The city has got a partnership with Chinese cities, twinning arrangements, the Guangzhou. We also have traveled there to see the rate of development. And what I have seen is something to emulate for the people of Harare and the people of Zimbabwe. We are currently in the process of getting smart water meters, prepaid water meters from China. We've had our Morton Jeffrey plant improved by China. Waste collection, we are getting trucks, compactor trucks from China, and various other forms of technology, street lighting and so forth.
Zimbabwean and Chinese people are understanding each other more, with each passing day a communion of friendship. Cultural activities and art are becoming the currency to transact friendship and mutual understanding. Leading sporting and cultural practitioners have begun building this long bridge for a shared future.
President of China, His Excellency Xi Jinping, has got 2 of my pieces. After the president's gifts, I also did some pieces which were presented to some Chinese officials. I had a lot of coverage from Chinese journalists who were stationed in different parts of Africa. They all came here. So as a result, I was on many social platforms and newspapers and so many interviews. So as a result, I've got a lot of friends and customers from China.
The National Arts Council of Zimbabwe has been at the forefront of facilitating for young people, for artists, for practitioners to have exchange programs with their Chinese counterparts. Those exchange programs have been of great benefit to our artists in the country.
The future is to build mutual trust and inspire future generations of friendship.
I would jump on an opportunity to be China's friend as it further develops solutions at fourth industrial revolution related issues like AI. Let's get to a fundamental understanding of how this is done rather than waiting to apply things that have been developed elsewhere.
The future is in telling the story of Zimbabwe and China well.
The media, as the fourth estate, plays an important role in mediating the relationship between Zimbabwe and China across different subjects, from statecraft to investment to corporate social responsibility programs by Chinese companies.
I think it's crucially important that the story of Zimbabwe and China relations is amplified and is told as widely as possible to audiences both at home and beyond.
As history marches on, so will the friendship between Zimbabwe and China move to even greater lengths and heights, building an all-weather community with a shared future.
Looking ahead, as both countries have rolled out their respective development blueprints, China's 15th five-year plan, 2026 to 2030, and Zimbabwe's National Development Strategy, NDS2, synergizing these visions will unlock enormous opportunities for further bilateral cooperation. China will always stand firmly alongside Zimbabwe, building on the solid foundation laid over the past 45 years. We are confident that our joint endeavors will forge an even more fruitful and lasting partnership in the decades ahead.